Jeff, the last time we talked to you, we mentioned how Terry McLaurin and Washington are pretty far apart on his new contract. He's not happy about that. Has there been any progress with that whole situation, or do you have any kind of update there?
That's a tough one. I know there's no update, which is the update, and that's the problem. The problem is with this particular situation, I think Terry McLaurin is going to argue that we've seen other wide receivers who his numbers are comparable to, like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and DK Metcalf, get paid over $30 million a year this offseason. And I think the Commanders then can say yes, but Mike Evans, who also has had comparable numbers, is at $24 million. So there really is quite a difference and a gap between what both sides would want. They have not made any progress. I would think that we'll see if there are any teams that decide to come snooping around Terry McLaurin to see if they could try to pry loose Terry McLaurin, who, by the way, I cannot envision the Commanders moving on from, no matter how disgruntled he may be.
So it is officially the second day of July, and the Washington Commanders and Terry McLaurin still have not reached a contract extension. Although I'm not panicking, after this new article dropped from Adam Schefter, it kind of put me in a new perspective that Terry McLaurin has all the leverage here, and quite frankly has the Commanders by the balls.
Come on, you got a line. Come on.
Let's talk about it.
The way that we live is not for everybody.
Nah, that ain't it, y'all.
How do you think the rest of Jaden Daniels' career is going to go? If we're, 6, 7 games into Jaden Daniels' career, and he's already milking injuries? Like...
Stop saying my name, you dick riding bastard.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here. We have the Washington Commanders video, and in today's video, I'm coming in with a video where we're going to be talking more about Terry McLaurin and how now, after this article, I can kind of see why he's holding out, because he has all the leverage. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. But make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel. If you are new, turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload new videos like this to the channel. We're on the road to 11,000 subscribers, so I'd really appreciate it if you haven't reached that goal as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Let's get straight into today's video. So first things first, Washington and Terry McLaurin reached on a contract extension around this time, the last time he got paid. So that's simply why I'm not panicking yet, because I still feel like it's going to get done. I said my deadline for nothing to get done is like the 15th. If we get to the 15th and nothing is done, then I'm starting to, get a little bit worried. That being said, Adam Schefter had put out an article, and I saw it on the Commanders Wire yesterday, and he went on to say this: the Washington Commanders begin training camp in 3 weeks, and star wide receiver Terry McLaurin has yet to receive a contract extension. McLaurin is entering the final year of his 3-year extension he signed in 2022, worth $71 million. McLaurin is due to count $25.5 million against Washington's 2025 salary cap. ESPN's Adam Schefter appeared as a guest on Pat McAfee's show on Monday and offered a not-so-promising update on talks between Commanders and McLaurin. He quoted this: "There is no update," which is the update, and that's the problem. Schefter said, the problem is that this particular situation, I think McLaurin is going to argue that we've seen other wide receivers who his numbers are comparable to, like Jamar Chase, like T. Higgins, and like DK Metcalf, get paid over $30 million a year this offseason. And I think the Commanders can all say, yeah, but Mike Evans, who also has comparable numbers, is that $24 million. So there's really a quite difference and a gap between what both sides will want. They have not made any progress. I would think that we'll see if there's any teams that decides to scoop in around the Terry McLaurin sweepstakes and see if they can try to poke him loose via trade. But I don't see that happening. That's just me being honest. A lot of people brought that to my attention. They're like, Juan, what would you think if we traded Terry McLaurin? And that thought just simply has not crossed my mind, because I don't see a world in which we allow Terry McLaurin to be traded. And traded for what exactly? Is the thing that I really want to know. If we was to trade him, it would have to be for a receiver, in my opinion. Kind of like how the Dolphins and Steelers just did. They traded a DB for a DB. It would have to be that. I get how good TJ Watt is, and people brought that up to me. First of all, I think TJ Watt's going to end up getting paid by Pittsburgh. But as good as he is, I don't want TJ Watt for Terry McLaurin. I would much rather give me Terry McLaurin for another receiver if that was the case. But I don't want to trade Terry McLaurin, and I don't see a world in which we trade him, first of all. Secondly, you don't trade for Deebo Samuel in hopes that he's your wide receiver one. So that debunks the whole trade notion there. But even more so than that, talking about Terry McLaurin in the sense of he believes that he deserves the money like a Jamar Chase and like a Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb got, and the Commanders can be on the fence like, nah, man, you're good. You put up similar numbers to Mike Evans, and he's getting $24 million a year. And who said that? I said that. Go back to my video when we talked about this. It's titled "This Could Change Everything for the Washington Commanders." Terry McLaurin's the thumbnail. It's on the homepage of the channel. I literally said that. I said the biggest gap that I think is Terry McLaurin and his agent wants to get as much money as possible, knowing that he's going to be 30 and he does not have that many years left in the tank in terms of playing at this high level production. At least that's what we assume. And he's trying to get as much money as possible on a short-term contract as possible. And then Washington is looking at it like, we want to give you a three-year extension, 4-year potentially, but more so 3 years, and give you as much money as possible. That way your contract can be expiring by the time it's time to pay Jaden Daniels his big money. And for me personally, Terry McLaurin, I love him to death. I do. But when you talk about the numbers being comparable to Jamar Chase, are we talking about touchdown numbers? And I don't want to discredit touchdown numbers. I have Terry McLaurin's jersey on right now because I'm a huge fan. I love him. He's my favorite player on the Commanders and of all time. So you don't have to go down in the comment section and comment, Juan, he's the best contested catcher. I know all of that. But really think about it. Yes, he could have had 17 touchdowns like Jamar Chase. But did he put up 1,700 yards like Jamar Chase? Is he a Triple Crown winner? Does he truly, think about it, does Terry McLaurin truly deserve $40 million a year? Come on, y'all. I love him. I do. But I think at the age that he's at, I think 32.5 is where I start the conversation. I would give him 34 if he asked for it. 34 if he asked, if that's what he's asking for. But I would start it at 32.5, maybe 33 to put him over DK Metcalf. Because like I said, it's an even battle though, right? Terry McLaurin's whole case can be, yeah, I'm 29, about to be 30, but I came into the league at 24, 25, so I'm still quite fresh. That could be his argument. And Washington's argument could be like, you know, we don't want to pay you that much money. For one, the production has not been a Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson level, and those guys are 25. So they're much more likely to stay at that pace than what you did last year. So I'm going to just be trill with you, and we're going to get back to the article. I have a number in my mind that I feel like Washington should pay Terry McLaurin, but at the same time, whatever they pay him, I'm not even going to be mad at. Because he deserves money. He's been the face of this franchise for years before we got a quarterback. He's been holding us down. And we need him. It's July, y'all. It's not April. It's not May. It's July. Training camp starts in 3 weeks. The first NFL game of the season is this month. Yes, it's preseason Hall of Fame game, but it's this month. So we have little time to waste. That's why I say Terry McLaurin has all the leverage in this situation. He truly does. Because a lot of people are going to say, well, Juan, Terry can't hold out because he's going to get fined. He has enough money to pay those fines. That's why he missed mandatory minis. That's why he missed the later parts of OTS, because he can eat those fines, bro. He's straight. So he can really, if he wanted to play the hard game, he could really sit on his hands and say, hey, I'm not budging until they give me what I want. And the worst case scenario would be for Washington to trade Terry McLaurin. And I don't even want to fathom that, because I don't think that that's even a possibility. He's too important to this team. And unless you're giving me a receiver that equals that production or gives me the more production, I don't think we should do it. We shouldn't even entertain it. So, getting back to the article, though, it continued to say, Schefter then compared McLaurin's situation to Washington, from Washington to TJ Watt's situation in Pittsburgh. Watt is also entering the final year of his contract and is due for a raise, but like McLaurin, the teams could be using their respective ages against them. McLaurin will turn 30 in September, and Watt will turn 31 in October. McLaurin is coming off of a season in which he caught a career-high 13 touchdown passes and added 3 more in the playoffs. His previous career high was 7 touchdowns and set his 2019 rookie season. We've mentioned all along that we don't believe McLaurin is going anywhere, and the Commanders will do right by him as we approach camp. Both sides become increasingly desperate to finalize a deal which could lead to a new agreement for McLaurin. So, again, more of the story from hearing this article, I personally took it as, hey, Terry McLaurin's not budging. He doesn't, you know what I'm saying, have to let up unless it gets to a point where those fines are out of control. But I think he has enough money to pay those fines and to deal and stand his ground. I really don't know what I would do in this situation if I'm Washington, in terms of like the language. Do I just give him what he wants completely because we need him, or do I try to just stand my ground? But then again, these are speculations, y'all. Like, let's be for real. These are speculations. We don't know truly what the holdup could be. Like, we don't even know you don't even know if it's a holdup. What if they we just don't want to announce the contract extension now, and the whole time it's already written up, already done, just waiting for Terry to get back in town to sign it? What if it's that? So again, you kind of got to take these news articles, especially guys like Adam Schefter and stuff like that, with a grain of salt, because they can say that it's nothing going on, but it's the quiet part of the offseason. So they're looking for any kind of content. So they're saying no update is a bad update, but we truthfully don't know that. But from the outside looking in, the only thing that I think could be a holdup is probably the years on the contract, truthfully. I think Washington does not have no issue with paying him all the money that he wants. I don't think Washington has an issue with that at all. He deserves it. But I think the issue comes with Terry wanting to potentially double dip, and his agent wants to get him 2-year contract, which means his contract will be up. Let's say he has 1 year left on this deal and 2 more years. It'll be up in 3 years, which allows Terry McLaurin to be 32, 33 years old, which means if he's still playing at a high level, he can then double dip and get another contract extension, whether it's from Washington or another organization. And Washington's like, we just want to give you one more final big payday, potentially. This is what I'm thinking. And Terry's like, nah, man, which in my opinion, again, he has that leverage to say that. That's smart. Like, just truthfully by agent, if that's their thought process, to imagine getting 31 a year, right? Let's just say Terry gets 31 a year for 2 years. And he's still balling out for those 2 years. And then he gets paid again. Do you understand? Yes, I understand he'll be 32, 33 years old. But do you understand that his AAV may increase if he's putting up 1,400 yards in these upcoming 2 seasons here? His AAV could increase, so he could be walking out at 32, 33 years old with then $35 million. Because age definitely plays a factor, don't get me wrong. But again, Terry McLaurin will be in his just 9th season at that point and still balling. And the receiver position isn't as physical. So these guys can play until they're 34, 35, 36 years old. And Terry McLaurin has a game that translates very well with age. He's not a physical receiver in terms of, getting hit all the time or initiating contact or have had severe injuries over his career. Let's knock on wood here. But more of the story, whether you lie, because I've been reading the comment section and I've been saying there's no middle ground with us. You're either on the side of pay Terry McLaurin whatever amount of money he wants, Or I'm seeing some crazy people say trade him. But they don't need him. We don't want nobody here that doesn't want to be a part of the organization. I'm like, wow. And it's crazy how much money can not gonna say change people, but it's like, wow, this is Terry McLaurin we're talking about, y'all. Like, this is a player that has given us his all since getting here. And I will say this, and I hope we're not like this season. But when Terry McLaurin gets paid, I know it's going to happen. I know people's opinions going to change in terms of expectation, which rightfully so. But if Terry McLaurin can't have a bad game this year, because you know how many people are going to hold this over his head, this holding out, this doing this for all this money, and he puts up 42 yards in a game, and goes catchless in the first half. People are going to rip him apart, man, which I hope not, because Terry is such a likable guy, and again, he deserves his contract extension, and I'm still hopeful that it's going to happen. I am. I give my deadline July 15th, and that's when I'll start to spaz out if nothing is getting done with the Commanders and Terry McLaurin. But what says you down below in the comment section? After reading the article, after listening to my take from kind of both, talking about the negatives of Terry McLaurin wanting $40 million, potentially, and the positives of it, where do you stand? Okay, leave it down below in the comment section. Do you think Terry McLaurin has all the leverage, or do you think Washington has the leverage in terms of, hey, he can hold out, but we'll continue to find him, and at some point, them fines are going to add up? I think Terry McLaurin is perfectly fine, bro. But I don't even know if it gets to that point, because if it gets to that point, then now we're a Cincinnati Bengals situation. Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart, like, we're that, and we've been so far removed and been doing so good as an organization to not put ourselves in that predicament that I don't even think that's the case, or we'll get to that point. I'm still standing firm on Terry McLaurin will be getting paid before the season starts, and he'll be out there during training camp. But leave your comments and thoughts down below. As always, me and boy Juan Gotti. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications. We're on the road to 11,000 subscribers. Does Terry McLaurin have the leverage here? Does he have the Commanders by the balls? I think so. But y'all have a blessed one. Stay safe, easy out there. Peace.
Ballin' like I'm D-Sean, throw the bomb, G. That's IG, my jersey never seen a line.